Hi, welcome to these extra videos on Parkinson's and dementia. I'm the author of these two little books, Parkinson's: A Slippery Slope to Dementia, and Dementia: What Every Carer Needs to Know. Both are available on Amazon, $1.99 for the ebook and $3.99 for the paperback, and all proceeds go to local dementia charities in Perth and Kinross in Scotland. This time I'm going to explore the very vexed question of family members and their relationship with you and your loved one. This is not going to be an easy ride, but I'll be as positive as it is possible to be on this topic. Let's move the title page out of the way and see what comes up next. Here you are with your loved one. You might well feel the picture isn't complete, that what you need to have around you is your caring, loving family. Now that is a nice ideal. You might innocently expect the family to be coming together and supporting you and to the hilt unconditionally, and all will be fine. Well, to quote the song, it ain't necessarily so. And it is very important to understand why this is the case and what or how much you can do to remedy the situation. There's a warning which comes with this video. Some rifts in the family run so deep for a variety of reasons that all the goodwill in the world cannot mend them. We can only do our best. So, let's look and see how we deal with family responses. Here's a family. Your family should be there to support and help you in any way. With dementia, however, as I've said, this is not always the case. Families can cause tension when they should be giving support. They can lack understanding and act on a partial view of what's happening. So what can you do to try and turn around a family attitude which is not of the best? The first piece of advice I would give is to be patient. Let the family take their time to get used to the situation. Some may find themselves in denial. The doctors have got it all wrong. The diagnosis is faulty. Give her a couple of pills and she'll recover. They may also back off and not want to be caught up with the illness. They should recognize that they are not at the heart of dealing with the loved one. You are. And it is a situation which will get worse, but gradually, over time. So, you are not, says the American writer Harland Ellison, entitled to your opinion. Family members, please note, you are entitled to your informed opinion. No one is entitled to be ignorant. And one sad manifestation of this ignorant response is denial. Denial? Here's a little demonstration of denial, just to lighten the mood for a moment. Here are ostriches with their head in the sand, and along comes one of their friends to say, "Where has everyone got to?" In spite of all the evidence, he or she, it's difficult to tell from here with an ostrich, he or she cannot see them because they are in denial. The most troubling aspect of family fears is a situation where one or more relatives respond by going into this denial. Again, be patient. They may come to terms eventually with what is happening, but unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. The cocktail of fear and other emotions may mean that they will retreat into a long-term denial, and that is something you will have to come to terms with yourself on top of everything else that comes with being a carer. Reason is not exactly top of the list in situations like this, and I have seen it happen in my own case, not least because of the distress it can bring upon the loved one, asking where X, Y, or Z has got to and why he or she isn't visiting. Almost as bad as this pessimistic denial is a sense of false optimism. They see the loved one on a good day and extrapolate from there that if only he or she was treated differently, then all would be well, and the loved one might even show signs of improvement. Another aspect which causes a lot of trouble is medication, one of the big sticking points. Too many pills, the wrong kind of pills, the doctors know nothing. I've checked it up on Google and I'm sure you've got it all wrong. Medication is a real can of worms because it's seen as a way of stabilising the loved one or making the matters worse, and guess who knows best? The family, of course. And here, just for your entertainment, is a can of worms. Ignorance will make matters worse. Now, the temptation to draw broad conclusions from a snapshot is, I'm afraid, endemic in the family. They see one thing happen once and assume it happens all the time. Here's an example. Here we go. Here is the loved one seated at table for a medication session. She expresses concern that the medication is not right. The family member jumps to the conclusion that the medication is always being dished out wrongly. It's the wrong kind, that Google says that it will poison you or make your hair fall out or whatever, and it's all the carer's fault. This may sound a bit extreme, but believe me, I have been there and I've got the t-shirt. And there is the actual t-shirt. Only joking, but really this is no joking matter. Squabbles over medication can escalate to a general belief by a family member or group of family members that the carer is hopeless in all departments and must be challenged. They will go to any lengths, apart from taking over the carer's job, to ensure that he or she is defeated. Now, the next item. Let's move on to another important source of potential conflict. Oh, here's the family again. Fear is the real problem here. Can I catch it? Can my children catch it? Does it run in the family? Is it in this stuff that we're not quite sure what it is? It's called DNA, and I presume that's where it lurks. And the answer is, to the questions, can you catch it? Can you pass it on? The answer is this. Here comes the family again. And it's very important to get this across to anyone who gets up in arms about this. The answer is not likely. Not with most kinds of dementia, except for frontotemporal dementia and rarer forms of the disease. In those cases, you should contact your family doctor and talk about the situation. But for the most part, dementia is dementia. And another point, whatever the situation in the family is at the moment, a certain percentage of all the rest of us will probably contact dementia, but that's not connected with the family histories of the disease. It's just one of the facts of life. Now comes another bone of contention. When the loved one is moved into a care home, this can be the most challenging time of all, for a number of reasons. Much of the issues which arise are based on the inevitable fact that the family members only have a partial view of what's going on, and that view is coloured by their optimistic or pessimistic assessment of the situation. On top of that, it's not really considered to be the done thing to put a loved one in a home, and the main carer, again, is the one who is always blamed for this happening. If only X or Y or Z had been done, the loved one would still be in his or her own home, and all would be happy. So, if I had a fiver for each time I've heard something on the following lines, I could have bought my wife a care home. The complaint number one is, the loved one always cheers up when I visit, which means they don't want to be there in the first place, and it's only us that cheers them up and you make her miserable. However, it's always the case that someone with mild or moderate dementia will tend to react positively to a visitor and to the stimulus that gives them. Now, complaint number two, a much more serious one, which can be quite challenging to deal with. Where is our loved one? Here she comes in this case. He or she has become institutionalized in the care home, they say. That's the knee-jerk response of a partial view. What you should do is stand that argument on its head and say instead that the loved one is in a place entirely suited to him or her and the other residents and has fitted in well. Even more challenging is when the situation is that not do you have a group of relatives saying X is right and Y is wrong, Y being you, of course, but when they start splitting into factions by themselves and start fighting among themselves about what should be done, we know best. A lot of that, I think, a lot of the anger, a lot of the pseudo-knowledge is based on this key element of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of a terrible illness, fear above all that they might fall prey to it, or their children, fear that it runs in the family. As I've said in another of these videos and in my book on dementia, don't be an optimist or a pessimist, be a realist. Watch how the family reaction plays out, concentrate on the good bits and put the bad bits to one side. You cannot mend all family responses, but they are not your fault. Sometimes it feels as if the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You could do no more than your best. Your main concern is the loved one. I wish you well with your family. Please stick the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of upcoming videos on this channel. Thanks for watching, and click on one of the links on screen for more words of such wisdom as I can muster.